Hi, this is Jen here again, and as promised, I'm going to give a little tutorial on how to break down a word in various ways. So let's call this, How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Ways. So let's work on the word love. And as you can see, I'm using all of the different Pythagorean, Chaldean, Gematria, Numerology, the whole bit, just like I showed you in the introduction. And as you can see, we come out with different versions. So here's your first set of different versions of numbers that love comes to. Through my system, I like to do the matching, and of course I did find an exact match for love, and it happens to be Ireland. Go figure. The big theme here is the nines, of course, and you'll see that it comes out in reverse into all the nines. You can see there's your 9 here. I don't have 54 up, but 54 comes up 999, and when you reverse it, it comes out 6736. And of course the 6336 is also 90. Half matches included anu. Now, when I use the term anu, as I do in Gen Anu, I'm not referring to the Anunnaki matriarch. What I am referring to is the toric field, the muscles around the heart, is also called the Anu. And one of my favorites, of course, is the Celtic goddess Danu, or Anu. And she's Celtic, Ireland. Now you have a connection. Of course, I start off here with the numbers because there were some really cool things, and I wanted to plug this music in, if you can hear this. 54 is the key of A. Now, A is the 369, and as you can see, the different octaves will lead you up to the tone of the crown chakra, and that's your connection to the heavens, so to speak. In this particular case, 9 becomes 1. 54 is also the number of the sun in numbers, so I wanted to go ahead and point that out to you. Now, Gematria. Now in here we have Gematria coming out as a 5. Well, the neat thing about 5 is 5 automatically turns into a 9. It's a 6 on the dice by adding the dots across. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the 5, 3 plus 3 equals 6, and 6 mirrored is 9. And you're going to find that a lot of things in here come out with this 369 family of numbers. That is love. Now, Gematria. Gematria 14, as you can see over here. 14 is how you spell out red in Gematria. It refers to the 1 thumb, 4 fingers, and the 7 colors of the rainbow. If you were to add all the 7 spell out all the 7 colors of the rainbow and add them together, you would end up with 140. Drop the 0 and you have 14. Also, I put the picture of the duplicate hands here to demonstrate that you can get 28, which happens to be the Hebrew Gematria for God is 28. It's also the acronym Roy G. Biv for the 7 colors of the rainbow also come to 28, which is 14 times 2. Pi can also be found in there, and I have reference to how to do all of the phi and the pi in the Excel think tank, so just get a hold of me if you're interested. I do a lot of reference to Marty Leeds, who is just fabulous with this English Gematria and pi. Of course, 14 turns into 5, 5 turns into 6, but 5 is also phi ratio, and it is all the fingers on your hands. Alrighty, so now we've worked with the 7 colors of the rainbow, and the 7 colors of the rainbow also represent the chakra systems, as you can see, all the colors of the rainbow. So that ties your gematria right back in to your numbers. You can also refer to this type of setup as 6 of the colors, 6 of the chakras are in your body, and 1 is above your body, and can be represented by the dice, the 6, 1. In Chaldean numerology, we came up with 21. This number indicates elevation in life, honors, general success. You hold the future number, and it is the world card in tarot, which is pretty much the same type of thing. You hold the world in your hand, provided that you're getting a reading with this thing turned up right. Otherwise, it can be the opposite. 21, 2 plus 1 is 3, which is the Trinity, and I'll try to keep the God stuff out of here. And my favorite version of the Trinity, of course, is the Mother, Father, Child. Now, in true Chaldean, they use rhythm and frequency and vibration in how they decipher. So in truth, love would drop the E, because the E is silent, so they would disregard it. And of course that'll give you 376 in Chaldean, which equals 16, which equals 7, and 7 stands for spirituality. And it also, if you wanted to refer back to the games, as Mr. Tackpans loves to do, as he knows, every opposite sides when added together on a dice equals 7. And you'll see me refer also to 7 in a bunch of different things. But 7 also indicates the chakra system, so now you have tied together Chaldean, Gematria, and numbers. One thing to note, if you get 3 in the Trinity from this, and you get 7 by dropping the E, 3 times 7 is 21. So we're still back to where we were. Now in Pythagorean, I use Pythagorean in my readings, just with a mixture of the other philosophies, but this is the one that is considered the completion number in the Pythagorean system. It contains all of the vibrations of previous numbers that came. So 9 is 1, 9 is 2, 9 is 3, 9 is 4, 9 is 5, 9 is 6, 9 is 7, 9 is 8, and 9, of course, is 9. And what that represents is a universality. You've learned to stand in another's shoe and see beyond your own dogma, to incorporate everyone around you. It's compassion, it's universal love. It's very important. I happen to be a 9, and love is 9. So now I'm going to go play around with a couple of different ways to do things. These are just little messages from, why not? Give it a try. So I was doing this one here, which is something that Mr. Tackpans uses. Basically, he'll take a number if it's a 2-digit, and he'll plus multiply, and these are the numbers I come up with. And of course, because we're using this sort of system, I pulled what these numbers mean in their own philosophy. So like 8 is power or empowerment. Change, it can be death, but change is change, metamorphosis, transformation. 9, of course, is universality in just about every single one of the philosophies. And then in numbers, 11 is illumination, and that's why a lot of people like to call Illuminati 11, but actually it doesn't add up to 11, so whatever. But illumination, beyond what somebody puts to it, is still illumination. It means to learn. It means to go, aha, I figured it out. Anyway, when this is kind of strange for this to happen, but when I took the 4 numbers like I would normally do in my system, it came out with a different bottom number, which that's, you know, whatever, that's fine. But when I reversed it, it came out to something that I would find in my code. And of course, these are half matches to it because I don't have another side to match, and we end up with winter, September, time, comet, drone, and Roma, which is another word for Rome. And so naturally I had to go around here and convert the love into Roman numerals and then back into our own numerals. Now when I did this, I came up with this set of numbers here. Now this was an exact match for continents, which is kind of cool because if it wasn't for continents, we'd be all swimmers now, right? So half matches for the second part of 7337 was October, circumcision, and equinox. Now circumcision, yeah, you can think about what they do to baby boys, but you can also think about cutting a circle in half. There's a lot of different meanings that can be used. And of course, equinox is a very special time always in our calendars, and a lot of us will separate or celebrate it. October happens to be the month of Libra, which is balance, and you need balance in love. On the first half of this, the half matches I came up with was Judah. Now this is from, the spelling here is coming from the King James Version, which has a different set of 12 tribe members than other versions of the Bible. We have indigo, which is the color of the rainbow, tying you back into where we were before. Good, yeah, love is good. Olympics, well, I'll have to think about that one. I'm sure there's some sort of a tie in there. And of course quartz, and quartz is used in healing practices. So yes, there has to be love behind healing practices. The number 7337, which was the second side, ends up being the exact number for 52 on the reverse key. Now 52 is the number for heart, earth, in numbers, and of course, which is really cool and can be referenced on the dice as part of the 7 rule that I was talking about. Alrighty, on we go down. Let's see here. I'm going to give a mention to Mighty Messer on this one. Mighty Messer, I took your formula, which uses my Pythagorean and numerology, and I came out with your equations and your number sets that you normally do. Okay, now, first thing that I noticed right off the bat with the low shoe is that every number there that's one of your totals ends up being divisible by 6. And of course, a reference to love in 6 comes in the form of the lovers on the tarot card. Very cool. Other than that, I really wanted to go through some more meanings of what we can derive from these numbers here. And I did simple searches on everything and tried to keep the subject matter to the love subject, of course, because that's what we're working with. And the first number we saw was 36, which, as you can see, 36 is a special number in Jewish tradition. It was exactly 36 hours of God's light that shone on the world before he created the sun on the 4th day. The Torah commands 36 times to love, respect, and protect the stranger. Also, there's something referring to 36 people who are righteous, and through them being righteous, the world can exist. This one I thought was really cool. In one Maori legend concerning the creation of mankind by the god Tane, 36 gods took active part in assembling the various parts of the first human before the Tane breathed life into her. That's kind of cool. So anyway, let's see, let's move on to the next one, which is 72, and 72 just happens to be the average heartbeats per minute for the resting adult. It's the percentage of water which is your body is composed of. And I always say that water is energy in motion, which is an attribute of love. And of course, the life duration of the ovule, which is the seed of human, is 72 hours. 180, which was your ultimate goal there, Mighty, ends up coming out. It's actually a really cool number because love is all about sharing. And 180, with its proper divisor summing up to 366. Now that means that if you were divided to divide whole numbers all the way through and then added all of those numbers together, it would come to 366. And in number theory, the difference between the 366 and the 180 is what you would call an abundant number. Isn't that appropriate? And this is a number that is just basically what's left, what is over and above the 180 you started off with. And of course, abundance is what you give out, whether it be to yourself or to someone else. Hebrew word for life is enchai. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, which is the numerical value of 18. Now, 18 was also one of the numbers in here. And so it's customary in Jewish circles to give donations in multiples of 18 as expression of blessing for life. Well, that's kind of a neat little thing, and I'm real partial to 18 myself. 54 was the one that I thought was pretty fun. Let's see, of course, you know, it ties in with the golden ratio of phi as it's part of the equation. And I'm not a mathematician as far as this goes, but this is the equation. It's 2 sin 54 degrees. So there you go for the 54. And the fun part, of course, is, and I really love this, this is all out of Wiki, the number of cards in a deck of playing cards if 2 jokers are included. And of course, if you think about love, yeah, you've got 2 jokers included, don't you? Anyway, transferring this out, of course, to love is to give. And in the 36, you have 36 times that you show love, you give love. 72 is the beats of your hearts, the life to give. Out of the 366 minus 180, you have 186 in abundance to give. And in the 18, you have the full 18 to give. And of course, in the 52, you have, or in the 54, you have 52 to give, aside from the 2 jokers. Let's see here. And of course, there's other ways that we could be playing with these numbers. You can make this sort of little box deal here. And I just used Pythagorean in here, and I'm sure this would work out with just about all of them. But you end up with, after you rotate the numbers and you add them together, and then add them all together, you come up with 72, which matches your low shoe. If you were to say, I love you, and you break down the numbers, I love you and I love everyone all come out to the same number, which I thought was pretty neat. So 72 plus 1 equals the 73 of you loving everybody. And 73's got its own special applications as well. In Gematria, Earth is represented by the square, and the square is represented by 4. Heaven is represented by the circle, and the circle is represented by 3. And if you put the 2 together, of course, you get your 7, which is part of your 7 and 3. Add 4. If you add, you base down everything here, because of course everything plus 9 is the number you start off with. So you have 46, which a person can say, okay, 46 chromosomes in the human body, or the human DNA. And then you have break it down again, you have 10, which is a completion number. It's a completion number in almost every philosophy. And it is also the 10 of Cups in the tarot card, which is happy endings. It's a completion. I picked that one because I like happy endings. They're not all like that. And then, of course, you break it down even further, and then you have the monad, which is you. And it's also the glyph, the Egyptian glyph for the sun. Now, of course, you take your 4 and your 3, and you find that on the dice as well as equaling 7. The crown chakra, also in numbers, comes out to 73 and ties in your higher self to your lower self. The 3-4 can be referenced as squaring the circle, and it's also found in pi. Okay, one last place last two places I want to visit here is love mirrors. Now, this is a different way that you can play with numbers, and basically, as you can see, I've mirrored the actual word love. Now, a symbol for love is the heart. So if you're going to mirror it, like say out of the deck of cards, you would mirror it and it would look like a spade. Okay, you have 13 cards, or 13 cards in a suit. So I took the number 13 and I flipped it, of course. And these are the numbers that you come up with here. And of course, I picked this picture here because ace is 9 in all keys. Anyway, 8 stands for empowerment, like I spoke of before, but 8 also is the sum total of the heart frequency, which is 512. And 512 and 256 both tie in to this type of mirroring. As you see, the 13 is there and the 512 is here. And of course, this is your heart chakra tone, which is in the key of C. So now you have 9 becomes 3. And while we're mirroring, I did one more thing. I took love and I mirrored it this direction in each one of its keys. And here you end up with like 2 of a kind coming together. And then when I went through the words looking for matches, I found an exact match. Matter of fact, it was the only match that I found, and it was collision. And isn't that appropriate? It looks like these 2 numbers are colliding together to make one, and that to me is the symbol of a couple, 2 like-minded souls coming together to create one, a collision of love. Alrighty, well, there is so many more ways to do this. I only picked out just some really the most common ways that people like to do numbers. There's a bazillion more of them, but I wanted to give a demonstration mainly of how the numbers can be broken down and why I do the system the way I do so that I can find all of this. And this will be the first demonstration. You can see this on the Think Tank tab on the program if you get a hold of me for that link. It won't have all the cool pictures and stuff. My Excel is not as new as they use online, so sorry that I don't put all the pretty shit on there. But anyway, I hope this helped you guys. If you have any questions, just get a hold of me. I'm Jenna New. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Google. And I love numbers, and I love you. Namaste.